Turn on the recording. Thank you. I would like to call to order the Board of Trustees meeting for the Village of Lansing on Monday, December 6th, 2021. It is now 7:31 p.m. Our first agenda topic is public comment period, and I don't see anyone from the public attending, but Natalie, if you have something to say, let us know. Okay. Then I would call for a motion to close the public comment period in a second, please.
I'll close the motion. I will set forward a motion to close the public hearing.
Thanks, Pam. Thanks, Carolyn. Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Randy, you'll have to.
Aye. I'm an aye.
We can't see your hand, but we can hear your voice. Okay. The next topic is to approve our minutes from November 11th and 15th. Jody, for some reason, I did not receive the November 11th minutes. I looked for them. I found the 15th, but I didn't find the 11th. Are you sure you sent them out? Okay. Well, they got blocked somewhere or erased by me. So I will probably abstain for those minutes, but.
So are you going to do two separate resolutions? If you're going to abstain, you're going to have to do two separate resolutions.
Oh, I can't vote to abstain on the minutes. Oh, okay. All right. I see. Then because I would be abstaining only on one of those. So I would need a motion to approve or to discuss the November 11th, 2021 meeting minutes for the Board of Trustees, and a second.
I'll move the 11th.
Thanks, Simon.
I'll second.
Thanks, Pat. Okay, is there any discussion, any problems or concerns with the November 11th meeting minutes?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand and or say aye. Oh,
Aye.
abstain.
Aye.
And I will be an abstention for this one since I could not find the copy. I'm sure, Jody, you sent them out, but just one of those things. Okay, then that passes with vote 4 approvals and 1 abstention from me. Okay, I need another motion to approve the minutes for November 15th.
So move, Randy.
Randy moves.
I'll second.
Simon seconds. Any discussion on these? Okay, all those in favor of approving the November 15th meeting minutes, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Randy said aye. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so it is 7:34. Let's pause for a moment until 7:35, and then we will start the public hearing, just to give people a chance. Okay, 7:35 now, and I need a motion to open the public hearing on our proposed local law G 2021, the amendment to the Village of Lansing Code sewer rents. Motion and a second, please.
I'll move to open.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Carolyn. Okay, is there any discussion or do we have anyone on public that wants to speak? Samantha, I see that you joined. Would you like to speak on this public hearing?
Good evening, everyone. So I have a question, Mr. Mayor. When you were doing your campaign, we have talked and I've shown you a certain part of CSP management, another part of Lansing. I'm a little bit concerned about the Lansing part, which is the back part, because it has so many bushes and there's no light in the back. And I am willing to meet with someone to show them exactly what I'm talking about, because CSP management starts from the pole all the way up to the road, but the back part is Lansing part. So I'm trying to see if there's a way that someone can able to clean the drain, cut the bushes down, and maybe we can get some light in the back there for the safety of people that comes from in different areas.
Okay, Samantha, the public comment period was already over.
Oh,
But-
I'm sorry.
No. But this has been recorded, so we will consider that part of our public comment period. This part of our agenda tonight is a public hearing on our proposed local law G to change the Village of Lansing's the sewer rents within our code. So we got your comments, and I will contact John Courtney to see if he can help you with that, and I will give him your information. So
Okay.
you might get a call from him.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's fine. But you have no comments on our code sewer rents, correct?
No, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Since there are no comments, is there any discussion with the trustees on this particular proposed change?
Are these increases primarily because of the work that's going on, increasing capacity and improving the facility?
Okay,
Because there was one last year as well, at roughly the same time of year.
right. It is a combination of things. Some of the cost rising is that for sure, but also the chemicals that they use within the water, the prices of those chemicals have gone up too. So it's a combination of things. For that reason, they raised the rates. We have input into that, but we don't have control over it. But from what I understand, it's just general operating expenses have increased. Some of it is capital, some of it is operating.
And when that happens with the Village of Cougar Heights, does the Village of Lansing typically then do our increase at the same time, just for streamlining?
Right. It's tied to a percentage of their rent. Ours is a percentage also, so it goes up. That's correct.
Yeah, I'm fine. I just wanted to ask. I mean, I know they're increasing their cost, and we have to follow along. But I just want to clarify.
Right. That's it. Exactly. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we will need a motion and a second to close the public hearing for this, and then we will vote on it.
Randy moves that we close the public hearing.
Thanks, Randy.
I second it.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, all those in favor of closing the public hearing on local law G, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous, Jody. Okay, now we would need to vote on the resolution to change the code. And so I'll need a motion and a second for that.
I'll move to amend the code.
Thanks, Simon.
I'll second. Randy.
Randy seconds. Okay, all of those in favor of approving the amendment to the local law G, the amendment to the village sewer rents, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
So this will be to adopt proposed local law G as local law 4.
Local law
2021.
4. Okay. So as soon as it's approved, then it goes from an alpha to a numeric. Our 4th law this year. Okay. All right. Thanks. That was quick. So the next topic would be the discussion of our solar code that Carolyn has worked with. I know that Natalie, you've participated in it, and Carolyn, I read through it. It's great. I have a couple of questions, but they're minor things. So I'll let everyone ask, and if they don't get my question, I'll do mine at the end. If there's any questions or comments. But Carolyn, give us a real brief summary of how you got to this point, how you got up to this code.
So the impetus for the code change was a ground-mounted solar project that the planning board approved, but we weren't happy with because they did not really take consideration of the neighbors' properties in mind, and they like placed it pretty much right on in their neighbor's sight line, and it was kind of unsightly. At the same time, everyone on the planning board wants to encourage people to install solar in their house for residential use. And so what we wanted to do was develop a code that both encourages solar and then also and makes it easy as possible to have solar, but at the same time gives the planning board a little more teeth than we currently have to make sure that ground mounted solars in particular are done in a way that it would not impact their neighbor's property. And that's pretty much it. I did not, just so you know, invent the wheel. The wheel has already been invented. So this code was first written by Marty Mosley. So that's how far back it goes. When
Right.
Marty did it, it was kind of before. Now there's a lot more state regulations, and anything over 25 megawatts is completely out of our control. The state could put it, on top of our houses. Like there's nothing we can do about that. So when Marty's section is really now our section 3. So what we've decided to do as a solar committee, which is me, Lisa, and Tony, was to divide it into 3 separate categories, because if you're just going to put some solar on your roof, we don't want to get into your way. If you're going to put a ground mounted solar unit, then we want to just protect the neighbors. And if you're going to do something big, so big that it's kind of a big deal for the village, but doesn't fall into those state regulations, then we have a slew of things that we're going to keep in mind, like what's your driveway access? Are you going to decommission it? Blah, blah, blah. And that's the section that was really pretty much written by Marty. So substantively, I've sent it to John and Mike and Natalie, and no one's really had any comments as to the way that it's been structured, which is this 3-tiered system. If you want to put it on your roof, great, get a building permit. If you want to put it in the ground, we're going to look at it for, concerns to the neighbors, but please go ahead, and we want you to do it. And then if you're going to build something big, there's going to be more of a village review process. The change that I made from the one that you saw, which if you looked at it in Word with the comments on, you saw a zillion comments. The change that I made from that was that I forgot that Mike had told me that currently, according to the code, any accessory building that's more than 400 square feet, which is pretty small, is considered a principal building. So Lisa doesn't like that at all. She actually wants to make a lot of changes in this area of the code, but in particular, the only difference between what I sent you and then the PDF that I sent you was that we say that for the purposes of this statute, something that's 800 square feet is still considered an accessory, not a principal building. So it would fall into the accessory setbacks as opposed to the principal building setbacks. So that was the only comment that Mike had, and that was the only difference that I made. And Natalie, you had a couple of comments, and Peter had comments with regard to what's a definition and what's not. And to be honest, that wasn't really like my jam. I was thinking that you and Mike were going to iron that out later. More so, I was looking for people to give me feedback on the structure and their just general thoughts on solar, how we're going about doing it.
Okay,
So that's
that
the
makes sense. Yeah.
background. And with that, Randy and anybody else have little comments, take it away, and then I'll incorporate them, and then the planning board will look at this and make their comments as well.
I was impressed by it. I was curious how this thing was graded. Sounds like it's been around a while.
It's been graded an A. I got an A.
Yeah, it was awesome. Looks like you've covered everything. I'm kind of curious to hear what Mike thinks. The only thing that I can, there's 2 scenarios I thought of. One is, as an example, the mall wants to, Carolyn over by our neighborhood, the mall wants to put a little light there to light that pathway. And I think it's going to be solar. I think that's covered by this. There's no issues. And
I don't know. Just a single installation of a light.
yeah, that's what they're talking about. That's why I'm curious what Mike thinks.
All solar energy systems required.
And I don't know how the battery storage for that.
So battery
Ju-
storage is covered because also the other thing that people were unhappy with was the dairy one building in general and then the
Right.
battery storage. And so that's going to fall into that second tier. Same with anybody doing a ground mounted in their backyard, which is
Mhm,
going to be requiring a special permit review. So
mhm.
all the conditions for general special permit plus extra consideration on screening and your neighbors and setbacks and what have you. So energy systems are tier 2.
I have seen someplace in another state, I saw a very large garage structure that was out in the middle of a parking lot. And it didn't have any sides to it, so it wasn't enclosed, but it had solar panels on the top of it, and it appeared to me that it was for all e-vehicles. It was electrical charging station provided in the middle of, let's say, this huge mall parking lot with solar panels on top of it. And so I was trying to read it as if one of the 3 malls was going to install something like that.
So
And
So roof mounted solars with a total surface area of greater than 4,000 square feet fall into that tier 2 category. And so
Right.
that's sort of, we do want to have the special permit review and the second tier review for anything that like the mall would put on their roof, even though we do want them to put solar on their roof.
Yeah,
So that would get that second level of review.
I would like to see somebody do that, in the future, somebody put up a separate garage that's not enclosed for people with electric vehicles to charge them in for free, but we'll see. And I think you have that covered. So I like it.
I think that I think it was the Denver International Airport that they actually have a certain parking lot that they have structures like what you just described, Randy. It's not just one standalone, but it's like every row of this one particular parking lot was a solar panel covered. So the cars below it would have shade in the summer and it would be collecting sunlight. And I'm sure that somewhere out there they had the battery or the energy storage systems that were needed to help store energy and or possibly transmit it out. But I had read, this was 4 or 5 years ago, that they were doing that as an experiment. So
Randy, your comment has made me think about, though, the definition for ground-mounted solar systems is a solar energy system anchored to the ground via a pole or other mounting system detached from any structure that generates electricity for on-site consumption. So that would include a single pole that that is not our intention. So I think we'd have to carve out an exception there for
Yeah.
single poles.
Hmm.
So that is a good comment.
Yeah.
So I think I will change
Good
that
luck.
such that that would not have review.
Yeah.
You just maybe I'll put in something like a single pole is subject to approval by the lighting commission, but even that, not in somebody's house. I don't know. We have to think about that one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good comment. Thank you.
Yeah, Carolyn. So from what I read, tier 1 and tier 2 would be allowed in all zoning districts. Have you decided on where tier 3 would be allowed? Because I just saw a few question marks there at the end as to what districts you would allow that in.
What did we do with those question marks? It's currently it's any district if you met these criteria.
Even for tier 3?
So there's not for tier 3.
Yep.
There's not a district-based restriction. But
Okay.
of course you would have to have the space.
Yeah. Do you know how much space does a 25 megawatt
Well,
installation
once it's
take?
25 megawatts, we can't decide where it goes.
Oh, so 24 megawatts,
It's
how much space
between
does that take?
1 megawatt and 24 megawatts that this would cover. So one of the interesting things is that how much space you need to develop a megawatt is changing rapidly. And so that's something that it's hard to say. We kind of
Yeah.
had a hard time deciding on square footage and wattages because it's an evolving field.
Yeah, because I'm all for the tier 1 and tier 2 type solar. I start to get a little worried with the tier 3 about where things go, because if people are doing tier 1 and tier 2, they're doing it for themselves.
Yeah, T3 is a business.
I feel as though people are trying to make a buck,
No, definitely.
and then I start getting a little concerned about if we have a lot of empty parking lots, and rather than developing a parking lot, or let's say the mall where you could put mixed use development, but then to just make a quick buck, you could put in
But that's why
ground-mounted
there's
solar.
literally 5 pages of regulations if you wanted to put
Yeah.
it to, you'd have
So
a
as long
lot
as,
of
the
criteria that you'd have to
from
meet.
what I understand, then the planning board still has complete control over this, because
Pretty much.
I'd also be worried about certain like A1 parcels just
Well,
becoming.
amongst the things is that the planning board would have to decide that that's the most appropriate location for that system, which is a pretty
Yep.
hard standard if they
Yep.
didn't want it.
The tier 3 installation is, according to this, your last bullet, it's all commercial or business and technology, health and human services. What RSH? That one's not ringing a bell.
Yeah, I thought that was
Good.
research. I was just guessing there.
Yeah, but that makes more sense because the commercial and industrial site might need something a little larger than a tier 1 or a tier 2 for their processes. So, yeah, I and Carolyn said it. That's basically business or commercial. So, but the planning board still has a lot of control over the siting, and I don't know about the size. As like Carolyn said, the size is changing because the newer technology, a smaller square foot generates more electricity. So that even the 25 megawatt at some point might be fairly small. So the state may have to come up with something that's square footage, because I think that's the real struggle. That's really what they're trying to control. Oh, and a comment that I had, Carolyn, is, and it's just a question. It's not, I had no doubts about it, but the 4,000 square feet, is that like a national standard for residential roof mounted? That's under tier 1.
That was something that we used Tony's expertise to come up with.
That's
And
fine.
that was not something that we knew what to do with right away. We talked about that. And
Okay.
yeah, that number doesn't have to be that number. We wanted it to be reasonable, that within the parameters of today, people could completely cover their residential property. But once it got to be more than that, we wanted to have some oversight. But
Okay.
yeah, no, that's something that we could think about.
Okay. Yeah, we can. That's something that we can change as technology changes. We might have a greater need, or it might not. That number might not be final for sure. And another question I have, and from the terminology, I wasn't sure. You might need to add a definition, is nameplate capacity. I wasn't sure what nameplate capacity. It's under tier 3 solar energy systems, ground mounted systems with a nameplate capacity.
I think that just means how much energy they create.
Okay.
Megawatt wattage capacity. I think it's synonymous with wattage capacity,
Okay.
but I could double check that.
Yeah, I just had that term I had never heard of. So it might be something that we would want to put under definitions.
Well, hopefully I can just change it to wattage capacity. If not, I have to figure out why it says nameplate capacity.
There might be an important reason to use nameplate capacity.
Okay,
That might be something that Tony said that Tony's knowledgeable about, but it's not what I think those were the only two things that I thought that you all did a great job of covering everything. And the questions you have at the end are things that we can work out. But I appreciate all the work that all of you put into this. I know it took some time. And we thanked Marty when he did the first pass, because he did a lot of the research too. But this will update that to at least some of the modern technology and the newer state laws. So I appreciate it.
So I'm going to propose to the solar committee what we want to do with somebody just putting, a solar stick in the ground, and then hopefully then the planning board will review it. And then hopefully we can pass it in 2022.
Yeah, early if we can. Jody.
I think that Mike can take it and put it into the code and actually create the law that will be approved Because what you have isn't really in our law form. And we
Exactly.
have to figure out where it goes in, and it will be totally different language than.
Yeah,
you
that's
have.
what I was saying with regard to Natalie, like this is a definition, this is not. I'm like, well, this is the form, these are the facts. And then, yeah, code it up for me, please.
Right. That's not unusual to do that. So, well, yeah, thank you for this, and let the planning board go through it. And I don't know if Mike wants to do his work first before it goes to the planning board, or maybe they review it in this form and he does his work and they review it in the final, and we all understand how this fell into the code format to go into our laws appropriately.
I spoke with him today and last week when we got this, and he does want to take it and go through it because he hasn't had a chance really to go through and put it together. So.
Okay,
We
just
did
tell him
wanna
I'm
do
gonna
it.
work on that one definition first and then I'll resend it to him.
Okay. Thank you. Again.
That's it.
Carolyn, I
Right.
just thought of one thing as I was going over things I have at my own home. Is there any degree of permanency required? Because I know you can buy like solar powered Christmas lights that I guess would be almost technically a ground mounting. So maybe some degree of permanence should be thought through.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about when Randy raised his question about if the mall just puts a stick in the ground. Because I'm like, oh, well, my neighbors have that thing that lines their driveway. We certainly don't want that
Yeah,
to be
I have all those
included.
ground like solar
Yeah,
little
yeah,
lights.
yeah. We definitely want to make sure that's excluded. So we'll clarify that.
That's all.
Okay.
Good job.
Okay. So the next topic is mayor's comments. For this, we've got the Jody sent us today the resolution to change our health consortium representatives. Did everyone get a chance to read that resolution? It's not a big deal. I can read it out loud if you'd like. Just let me change my Zoom factor here. Resolution number 6514 to appoint Mayor Ronnie Hardaway as director on the consortium board and Deputy Mayor Patricia O'Rourke as the alternate director and Clerk Treasurer Jody Dake as the benefits administrator. What this does is it allows myself or Pat to go to their executive committee meetings and vote. And Jody takes care of all of the hard work behind that. We say do it and Jody gets it done, sort of, for our village. Pat, I have been attending these meetings. I don't see any reason why I won't continue, but if there's a meeting I'm going to have to miss, I might ask if you would want to or could attend. If not, then we can send in a vote by proxy. So it's not a major deal, but if you're ever interested in the health consortium meetings, you're welcome to attend. If you've never been involved in any type of insurance, the consortium it's a very interesting process to set up something like this consortium. All of the rules and regulations related to what types of funds you can have and how your money's spent and how you control it. To me, I had no idea that all this went on behind an insurance company. So if someone would move this resolution and second it, we can vote on it. Randy moves,
I'll second.
Carolyn seconds. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Thanks, Jody, for catching that. The other topic I have for tonight, Jody and I spoke briefly last week about this, is our Christmas party. With the uptick in COVID-19, the Delta variant is still pretty active, and the new Omicron variant is now kicking into the United States. Do we still want to have our Christmas party where we're all in a small room, all of our staff eating, drinking, talking without masks. Do we still want to do that?
I personally think we need to be a little careful about the whole thing. I think a lot of people are nervous to be in a big group, and certainly with the new strain, not knowing, what it is and where it comes from, but it's going quickly, it's spreading. So I for one think we might want to err on the safer side. That's just my opinion.
I'm with Pat, and Monica and I wouldn't go. Just again, we're erring on the side of caution. We've been in this for like 2 years, and the kids just got vaccinated. We just got our boosters, so we're so close to having that full vaccination. We're a couple weeks out. So we would err on the side of caution, and we wouldn't be there. So,
Okay, all right.
You put her in that outfit just for the kiss with the little
Yeah.
red and the little white dots. It's like
she
a
keeps
Christmas
wearing
symbol.
that. It's from like 2 years ago. She just.
I have just an idea, but maybe I don't know. So Shannon Park is having a Christmas lights walk around on the 19th at 5 o'clock. I don't know if we could. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here. Maybe it seems like not appropriate to meet in one particular neighborhood, but we could walk around Shannon Park. Basically, you're supposed to put up your lights and just say hi to your neighbors.
Well, it sounds like we're not going to do it sounds like we probably should not do the event at the office or offices there. That's what I'm hearing.
Why don't we make it an event when we unveil the plaque? Wouldn't that be happening at the beginning of 2022? And see where things are at there, because I think that it's the Omicron that's kind of the scary part. It's that unknown of what it is. And by early 2022, maybe we'll be in a slightly different position.
Just suspend it.
Yeah.
Wait and see if there's another opportunity next spring to do it, or later this winter.
Have all the parks been dedicated, or is all that done? Because I know I missed the event for Dawn. So everything's dedicated, so we don't have a real reason to.
But when is the plaque unveiling, Pat?
We haven't settled on a date. Have you? It's being made right now. Have you heard anything, Jody?
Yep, it's ready.
It's ready?
Yep, so when we write a check for it, then we can go pick it up.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd be willing to do that. So we could maybe early spring, maybe where we could do an outside gathering, which people might feel more comfortable, providing the weather's okay. But or just have. Do you want to just do something with the trustees for Dawn? I mean, or do you want to open it to all the boards?
I don't see Ronnie on here, but I thought that, wasn't there a date? Didn't we have some resolution where there was going to be a date where it was going to be called Don Hartel? No? And we didn't want to do the plaque at the holiday or the Christmas party because that was prior to when the resolution was going to go out.
Our thinking was with the all this COVID going on, and we didn't know an exact date. So on the plaque, we had 2022, so we can do it anytime in 2022.
Okay.
Did everyone get kicked off of the meeting, or was it just me?
Just you.
Just you.
Yeah, I didn't push anything. It's just like Carolyn froze and then it just went off my screen. So, okay, sorry. I apologize. Like I said, technology is great until it's not. So what, Caroline, I was asking, how does the walk around within Shannon Park work?
Well, this is just the second year, but last year it was freezing. So people kind of tried to make a fire by the edge of their driveway, or just served like a cookie. And then we just walked around and everybody had their Christmas lights going. And I did my lights a little bit bigger than I normally do this year because of the party. And people just walk around and look at the lights. Did you go, Andy, last year?
No, I didn't. I don't know why, but I didn't know about it. I don't know if we.
What
I don't
day is
think-
it, Carolyn?
It's weirdly this year. Last year was on a Friday. This year it's on Sunday, December 19th, from 5 to 6:30. Super weird time. Also, when I play tennis, so I was a little sad about that. But got a sub, so I can come to the party. So yeah, we'll just walk around. I don't know. I don't know if it could be also because it's outdoors completely. It's neighborly. It's nothing. It's simple. I mean, we just walk around. But it might be a little weird to try to make it into the village party. But maybe you guys should all just come.
Yeah, I think it might be. And Simon, okay. So Randy, what do you feel about the party?
Well, it sounds like, I mean, Simon and his family were not planning on coming and Pat was against it. So I don't know who else would or would not attend, but maybe we should hold off. It just sounds like, let's be prudent, as someone said, and be careful and not all get together in a closed room.
Yes, I'll confess that I'm actually getting very tired of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Just for this reason, we can't get together with friends or family. It's very hard. I did see a couple of articles that they're concerned that people with vaccinations and boosters even are still susceptible to this new Omicron. They don't have enough, but they have concerns that it might not be enough. So unfortunately, with all of your approval, we will just cancel that party for this year. Doesn't mean you can't send cards to the staff and say thank you. If you'd like to do that. But the party, Jody will just say that it's off for this year again. Sadly, because I do enjoy being with everyone, but it would be difficult to have a good time knowing we might be exposing each other. And with this small staff and their spouses and ourselves, our village is small enough where it feels like family, but I don't want to expose family to this disease. So we'll just say that we're not going to have a party this year. And I can be called Mr. Grinch for this year, I guess. But I apologize. Getting your
I think
hope.
we're all in agreement.
Okay. All right.
I think we're
Those were the only two things I had for tonight, unless I missed something, Jody. Okay. And so let's go around table. Randy, do you have anything to report?
I think to report, we are having hopefully our final lighting commission meeting tomorrow morning at 10, and we'll finalize that and get that back, I think, to the planning board and get that off and done. We'll come back and we'll finalize it. And I was going to ask you something that you were working on, Ronnie, but I forget what it was. I don't think it was the employee issue. I'm looking for another employee. There was something else, but I forgot. So, oh well.
Okay. Well, you can ask by email, or
Yeah.
we can discuss it at our next meeting if we need to. Pat, do you have anything?
no.
Okay. Simon?
Yeah, the rec partnership is on hiatus until February. The town and the county just approved their budget, so the rec partnership has the funding that it needs for another year. So good to go until Feb. The tree conservation and replacement local law that I've been working on is with the planning board for review, and reading through Carolyn's solar local law, I'm just going to work that into the tree replacement, because currently the tree replacement only applies to projects that require a development permit, but I think I might make it applicable to any ground solar installations as well, and add
Okay.
that in there, and that would be the only change that I make.
There'll be a
But it's not planning
cross-reference
board right
between
now.
the two. Yeah,
Yeah, yep.
Okay. All right. Randy,
I recall what I was going to ask, and that was that property that wasn't being taken care of.
I haven't heard an update on that. So I haven't talked with John today, so I have nothing to report. When I get something, I'll send it out in an email. I'll ask him tomorrow. See what's going on with that.
Okay.
Anything else, Simon?
That's it.
Carolyn?
I don't have anything.
Okay. I know that one thing I did not mention is the search for a replacement for Nolan. Jody sent out the 5 motor equipment operator applications and also the 12 laborer applications. We decided to extend that to see if we could get a few more and have a little bit broader spectrum of applications. So we leaving it until Thursday. Jody, wasn't that correct? Or
Nope, it's till tomorrow. And
It's
so
till
far
tomorrow.
we have 15 labor applications and 6 MEOs.
okay. So probably after this pass, we will start going through those and set up some interviews. And at that point, I know that Carolyn and Pat said that they would be interested in sitting in on the interviews. Is that correct? Did I get that correct?
Certainly to me, yes.
Okay.
Just to the extent that you need help.
Right.
Not in any sort of voyeuristic capacity.
Okay. No. Just be if you want to participate in the interview process. We're trying to we will try to make the interview process fairly small as far as the number of people, rather than a large team type effort where we all interview. So when that gets started, I will contact everyone and let you know and see if somebody wants to participate. I'm going to try to be there. If we could have one other trustee, it would be good. But if can't, that's fine. And so that will start.
I think that's what we've done in the past. We've had, John Courtney's been there and the mayor, and in this case you, and one trustee, basically, just.
Great. All right. Well, if anyone's interested, you just contact me and then I will contact you when we start the process. So other than that, I have nothing else for tonight. And if there's no other discussion or comments, we just need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion to go watch the Bills.
All right, Randy.
I'll second.
Adam and Teddy are at the game.
Oh,
They drove up today.
Oh, wow.
Supposed to be extremely windy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to pipe in to say I'm forwarding all of you guys the invitation to the Shannon Park walk around. Natalie's a designated member of the neighborhood. Pat, with all your walk arounds, you're already a designated member of the neighborhood. So it's just Simon, Jody, and Ronnie who, please, you're also welcome. I'm going to send out the invitation to everybody now.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. All those in favor of adjourning, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Looks like it's unanimous, Jody. We can go now. Thank you.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Aye.
Aye.